Welcome to Pod Me If You Can TV. What have you got for us, Lloyd?
I've got a 4-pack of horror movies here, and the movie I chose for this week is The Return, starring the beautiful Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Pardon me if you can. Movie reviews.
Sarah Michelle Gellar plays Joanna Mills, a successful traveling accountant or salesperson who travels back to a childhood home in a small town somewhere in Texas. She is haunted by strange visions and flashbacks and tries to identify the meaning of it all. Fending off an abusive boyfriend played by Adam Scott, she befriends a tough local named Terry played by Peter O'Brien, who is seemingly related to her past. This is a ghost story. Sarah Michelle Gellar is haunted by something that we only see brief moments of and flashbacks. The film touches on the effects of trauma. We have a very abusive ex-boyfriend played by Adam Scott who does a great job of playing the great social villain. There is also a fatal car accident and an assault on a woman. Sarah Michelle Gellar is a victim of these and her mental state is heavily affected. I love the color grading of this movie. It almost looks black and white. It's a very cold looking movie, sort of between life and death. Like, you're in that void the entire time. Like, the entire landscape and interiors are done so beautifully. They really add to the dark mind of Sarah Michelle Gellar. Unfortunately, the hauntings begin right away. We're not given any time to really get to know Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, and probably the first 40 minutes is a real struggle to get through. It keeps pushing a very eerie past. The character waking up, seeing images, classic horror shock tactics, like Sonic appears in the mirror, in the shadows, maybe a freaky sound effect. What makes great horror movies great, I think, is that they allow you time to get to know the main character. They show a believable world before the supernatural starts occurring. Instead, the filmmakers ignore this and throw you straight into the horror elements, and all what you are watching is this beautiful girl constantly struggling to simply sleep as she's haunted by these visions, and it goes on and on before something actually happens. Hell, even David Lynch's film Inland Empire allows you time to get to know Nikki Grace before the bizarre starts happening. And I think that's the hardest part of this movie, is the first 40 minutes. It just comes across confusing and boring rather than atmospheric. There is a schizophrenic mindset to Sarah Michelle Gellar's character, and it seems at times the film itself is battling with these multiple consciousnesses. The whole editing and image of the film embodies this duality. Sarah Michelle Gellar does a great job of projecting this inner torment. There are horror moments where a shadowy figure appears and chases Sarah Michelle Gellar, and they go on for ages and you just don't care. I was constantly like, who is this person? Is he real? What actually happens if he captures her? You're not sure what's at stake because it's just really confusing. You're not sure if this is a dream sequence or, I was more confused than excited. At its heart, The Return is a murder mystery with a supernatural theme to it, and I personally love ghost stories, and this movie had a really great last 30 to 40 minutes, but it was a real struggle to get there. One notable scene I wanted to mention, there is a very brutal fight scene where a local man comes to the help of Sarah Michelle Gellar, who is being assaulted by her violent ex-boyfriend, who's played by Adam Scott. The guy beats up Adam Scott so bad that you never see him again. The choreography, acting, and sound effects were really well staged.
Wow. The career of Sarah Michelle Gellar is really just like Buffy and other stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if she'll be able to break out of that Buffy kind of mindset.
Do you think she ever will?
Well, I don't know. It's a very iconic role, and when somebody in TV does a role for a long time, they get associated with it, When last week we talked about how George Clooney, was in ER and TV, and he had trouble moving towards, film roles, and it's probably sort of the same thing. She's an iconic TV person now.
Well, she's got so many fans. Like, all the reviews I was reading, it was really hard to get an honest review on this movie because there are so many Sarah Michelle Gellar defenders. Like, I reviewed Simply Irresistible on this channel before, and I hated that movie. And all throughout IMDb, it was just packed with reviews because people just love Sarah Michelle Gellar. She's just a really likable person, and she's a very, very beautiful girl. So I think like, you have her, who's classic from Buffy, in a horror movie, it attracts a lot of people to go watch it. Like, oh, cool. And I think this movie sucked, to be honest. Like, it had a great last 30 to 40 minutes, but it was just so confusing. Great atmosphere and everything like that. But I think that, she's just got such a huge following. I think she can still manage to pull in audiences and make some money.
Well, I suppose Cruel Intentions is probably still her best film role. So if people want to check it out, Cruel Intentions, I'm going to recommend that.
I'm going to go with I Know What You Did Last Summer, of course.
Well played. Probably a better horror movie if people are watching this one. But you can find more from us at our YouTube channel or at podmeifyoucan.com.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Check out our podcast at www.podmeifyoucan.com.